Welcome back to the Olima League. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in game number 2 in this best of 5 finals for this tournament. It comes down to a PvP, so of course the winner is going to be Protoss no matter what, but the question is, which Protoss do you like a little bit more? Spawning here in the top left corner of the map from MVP, it's going to be the red Protoss player, Yanghua.
The bottom position as the blue Protoss, it is Axiom's Crank.
Cranky Kong, let's see if he can bring it back. The one thing I like the mentality of starting with cheese. You know, it's also really fun to watch Protoss PvP cheese, as you point out as well. But I think one of the big things is, like, Yanghua is not the type of player to be offset by that. Like, he's not going to be, like, paranoia scouting every game. Like, he might check this game because it's so fresh and new, but I doubt he'll be looking for it. So that could be Crank's, like, way to get back in this if you want to, like, persist with the gateways. But of course, with the second map being merry-go-round, really can't get, like, you just can't do it, not on a 3-player spawn map.
Yeah. I mean, Terrans sometimes do it, but that's just because Reapers, Marines, a little faster. But I think, you know, if he goes for any type of cheese other than a gateway cheese, so like a Proxy Stargate, a Hidden Dark Shrine. Hidden Dark Shrines, I think, are very popular in merry-go-round because there's like a whole other base you can put it on that's never going to be scouted. That might be effective. I mean, Yanghua scouted last game, but it was an easy scout. It was like totally casual. He like sent a probe over, was like, oh, you're doing that, all right then, and sent it back home. It didn't require a lot of extra, you know, mental fortitude or hand motions. Whereas scouting for a Dark Shrine, you're going to be checking like everywhere if you were really paranoid.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think, like, what would Crank really come into this game with? I mean, we've seen Crank do some really cool things in PvP. For those who did not watch the Acer Team Story Cup, first off, what's wrong with you? Secondly, every time we got to see Axiom in the Acer Team Story Cup, Crank would always be one of my favorite players to look forward to, because he had some really cool PvP stuff he was doing. One of them, of course, being use of hallucinations with your pushes, like Archons and such. Was really cool to see. Would love if he could bust that out versus Yanghua, but it's one of those things that I think is more situational than planned for. Like, there's no build that you can look up that's like, all right, so at the 7-minute time we can hallucinate 4 Archons and go. Like, it's more reactionary than anything else, so you gotta take advantage of situations.
Yeah.
I'm really disappointed, by the way. I still feel like Archons hallucinate. How cool would that be if they could crush force fields? Like, that would change this matchup so dynamically.
Yeah, I guess I don't have a problem with that because it only affects Protoss. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with anything that makes Protoss harder.
Yeah, right, exactly. We have Yanghua going for a Twilight Council. Crank did go for Crank went for the double gateway on 20.
This is a safe opener. We see a lot of 2 gates just on the off chance your opponent goes for 3. That way you'll have the production to match it. Like, you can do what Yang was doing right now and stick on 1 gate, but say Crank was the one going for 3. Comes across the map really quick here, and he'll hit before that blink timing. So Yang was down a bit of a clock. If he can get blink out, he can hold off what Crank's doing. But Crank's production is literally 3 times better than that of Yanghua's. So until the second gateway completes, he could be in for some trouble.
Yeah. Crank gonna pile on a little bit of pressure right now. Obviously, with the faster gateway means faster stalkers. The Mothership Core should always be able to push this back for sure. Worst case scenario, these 3 stalkers kill Yanghua's Mothership Core. It doesn't sound like it happens very often unless you're like bronze, but we've actually seen it happen in pro games. You look away for 1 second and you don't expect the stalkers. The Yanghua actually camping the natural ramp won't let the stalkers get anywhere near his Mothership Core without knowing.
So I like that he did through the 3rd gateway. He's recognized that this is coming. He's going to need that production. It's going to be some time before he gets it up. If this pile goes up on the high ground, this is going to be a great start for Crank, because this is actually safely tucked away from that photon overcharge, which is most likely sure to come down. There we go. Does bait that off here. Little unfortunate because the stalkers are too low to really fight. This pile on the high ground is a bit of danger.
Yeah. Blink is being chronoed. It has 70 seconds to go. So that's gonna he's gonna have to hold on without a potent overcharge for a little bit, but he has production now. His gateways did finish. He's matching Crank's production. You can always pull probes if it's really a dire straits.
Well, right now Yanghua and Crank just production for production, but as I said before, like, once blink comes into effect, Crank, if he can recall, I think we'll actually be fine. But yeah, blink versus no blink it's barely a contest. Youngwon's gonna win this fight so easily.
Well, yeah.
Well, actually,
Blink
Crank
doesn't
gets
do
here really
much.
fast, so when he does blink away, he's still in range of the Stalker fights. Mothership Core also executing this, kills his opponent's Mothership Core, so no foot on overcharge is going to come down. More Stalkers warping into this point. The count is even, but it's still just the blink Stalkers I think are going to be just barely enough.
Yeah. And the probes, as I said, can always be pulled for,
Yep,
you know,
there we go.
just barely enough. It's
Crank
now
has somehow pulled ahead
63.
though. How the hell?
I guess what happened was Younghwa actually had really low blink stalkers, even though he had the same number of blink stalkers. Nice probes around on that one. That one stalker's gonna die again. Crank's production
He's got the
and
numbers though,
Young's
5
are
to
the
3.
same.
Like
Yeah, no Mothership Core. Might still go okay for
executes
Crank.
the blink Stalker, gets way too close. Young was getting a big greedy with the Stalkers. He's doing a great job with the probes. They're not pulling too many, but as we see, dives forward and loses another. So 4 to 2. Crank with 21 probes over 16. There is the threat of a possible warp in. Youngwa though can't afford to spend a single warp in offensively. He needs everyone at home right now. He knows it. 7 Stalkers to 3, and Crank is gonna really make this work. I almost never see blink versus not blink work.
Well, I think it's very important that Younghwa did not protect his mothership. He probably thought that he had an edge as well, and
Yeah.
thus just let it attack rather than keeping it safe behind, ready to pop an overcharge in however long it had to take. Because
I like
I mean, it was
Crank's
like
kiting,
30
too.
seconds away, but that 30 seconds could have been bought.
Like Crank's kiting away from blink Stalkers, and Young was chasing into it. Like this is a big problem. He is doing some good blink now, but it's 2 Stalkers too late. GG's gonna be called, and Crank will even up the series 1-1. Not bad. Not bad.
Perseverance, man.
Yeah, pretty much.